I'm back at the Sanford Dam. You might be able to see the top of it way off in the background where that crane is located. We'll be heading over there to the site very soon. But before I get this video started, I wanted to thank my new patron, Joe, and for people sending me letters through the mail. So a huge thanks to Paul and Robin, Rich and Bonnie, and Jack and Linda. If you want to send me anything, I will pop my P.O. box up on the screen right now. I really appreciate everyone's support. Let me get this camera turned around now. And I'm also going to flip the microphone around. But you can see we're right here by the temporary bridge. The water level is actually up pretty high right now. It's starting to come around the backside of the dam. It actually went over the sill last night. You'll be able to see that very soon when I get over there. But for now, we'll just take a look at Sanford Falls right here. And this used to be Sanford Lake here. Now Sanford Lake bed, covered in trees. And this is what's left of the urban embankment. They used to span from here and connect over there to that side. I do want to mention that we are almost to 33,000 subscribers on this channel. So if you want to go ahead, support my efforts, go down below, hit that subscribe button. Also on my other channel, the Mowbray family channel, we're almost to 2,000 subscribers. Right now we're doing a lot of dirt moving and building our dream home. We're actually working on digging out the pond right now. So if you want to go ahead, I know there's a lot of people that like seeing that dirt moving on my channel. Go check out the link in the description down below and subscribe to my other channel while you're at it. Also up there on Secord Dam, we only have $730 more to raise to get a live camera up there. This live camera here on Sanford Dam has been awesome. I know there's been a ton of people that have been tuning in to watch it, watch this temporary bridge being installed, and watching all the work going on over there right now as well. Again, I'm not getting any closer to the water. You can see it's really flowing quite fast under there right now. If I went closer, I would need a life jacket. And take a look underneath the bridge though, and right over there is the substation of the powerhouse way off in the background. Got a lot of riprap around this temporary bridge. I really don't think that they're going to have to use the lift portion of it. It is a lift bridge, as you can see, hence why they have these H-beam structures and the chain falls up there to be able to go ahead and lift it. They actually did a test of this on the last video I filmed. So if you want to see that, make sure you check out the last video that I posted. I'm gonna probably go ahead and jump into some drone video now, and then we'll head over there to the site and see what is new on the Sanford Dam. You can see the crane moving in the background right now. Jumping into the drone video now, probably only about 20-30 feet in altitude facing towards the east. And I'm gonna have to eat my words. They did actually have to lift up the bridge. We had a lot of rainfall the last 2 weeks. And right now, the water's probably only a couple feet underneath that bridge. I'll be going out there again tomorrow. River is supposed to crest in Midland at about 3 p.m. So we'll probably crest in Sanford a little bit sooner than that. And the crest height is supposed to be about 22 feet. Sanford, I'm not sure what they're anticipating the crest to be, but I'll share that in the next video that I film here at Sanford. A lot of new progress here that you can see from my last video. So all these spillways are completely opened up, and the day prior to me filming on site here, the water actually did come up over the top of this access roadway, which is at the same height as the sill. So all those spillways underneath them has been flooded again. They did go ahead, pump these out. You can maybe see a little bit of scaffolding underneath that spillway as well. And then they ended up pouring the sill higher. So I'm not sure exactly how many inches higher. It was at least a foot. But with our high water levels again, it ended up flooding, I think, 2 more times after they extended that sill height. So now with the water being so high, it's definitely way over the area that they even broke away from those spillways. So you can kind of get that into perspective as to how much higher that water level is. I know the people that have been watching the live camera today have noticed a lot of trees over here that were on the left-hand side. You can see in this view that are along that bank. They have fell in the river and been washed downstream. Apparently they needed a little bit more riprap there, so when they go to redesign the park, I'm sure they will have a little more riprap there, but this has never been really an issue because of where the water coming through the dam is directed downriver. Now with the water coming over here underneath the temporary bridge through Sanford Falls, that's kind of targeted right at the far side of the bank over there on the Sanford Park, so it keeps eroding away more and more. And with the river being so high right now, it's actually encircled this temporary bridge. The temporary bridge over here on the left-hand side is on a little bit of an island. We'll have to take a look and to see how much erosion is happening along these embankments that they have poured. I know they definitely armored them up a lot more. I think they put some D8 riprap in there, so some large chunks that they were actually manipulating with the excavator, and we could see some of that from the live camera. It was pretty interesting seeing them place those inside the river and keeping them from washing down, and they actually hammered them into the clay bank. So up here to the north now, you can see a little bit of that lake bed out there in the front and Sanford Dam over here on the right hand side. Kind of see the whole site. Hopefully the water doesn't get too much higher at the time of me filming this voiceover. Otherwise it might be getting pretty close to going underneath where these trailers are located here. As I head over to the site, I'm sure a few people would want to look at a little bit more of the construction of this temporary bridge a little bit closer. Also, I did misspeak in the last video. I said that this bridge was made by Inland or Acro. That is false. They were the ones that went ahead and assembled the M30 bridge, but Acro is the one that went ahead and constructed this bridge for this use. Check out Sanford Falls back there, Sanford Lake in the background, Sanford Lake Park over there. So here's the other side of the bridge. Sanford Dam back there in the background where the crane is located, in the other Sanford Park area back here. You know, I do have my white frame sunglasses on today, but it is really cold. Yeah, I think it's about 25 degrees. It has been warm the last couple of days though, and hence why all this water is kind of rising up a little bit, raising up and flowing over here and raising the water level directly behind the dam. All right, let's go over there now and we'll check out the dam a little bit closer. Before we head over to the dam, I'm gonna jump into a little bit more drone video. We're probably about 100 to 150 feet in altitude, flying over the top of Sanford Falls on the left and the temporary bridge over on the right hand side. You can kind of see the whole job site over here by the dam, and the drone is facing to the northeast. So they do have the large crane over here. This crane is about 150 tons. Powerhouse is over on the right hand side, and the substation is just exiting the screen over there on the right hand side as well. The live camera for this location actually did go down today. I'm not exactly sure why, but I will be checking that out again tomorrow. I think someone may have just unplugged it inside the powerhouse, so hopefully it should be a quick fix. I know you guys are probably wanting to see how much the water is coming up over here by the dam instead of looking at it from just the park view. So we're up here behind the dam now, looking at Spillway 5. I like looking at this one up nice and close because you can start to see a little bit of that pass-through gate right in the bottom of it. That's the gate that they could open up to remove silt in front of the dam, as well as they left that open for constructing the dam. They could allow the river to continue to run through that spillway while they poured the other spillways. After the spillways were all poured, they could go ahead, close that up, and allow Sanford Lake to fill. So we're going to keep gaining altitude a little bit further. I flew all the way up to 400 feet in altitude. We can see that park area over there on the left in the back. And the bridge way downriver is for Saginaw Road. So that is the main road that goes through the village of Sanford. We'll take a look at the village a little bit later on in this video as well. And the lake bed is over on the right hand side. Here's a closer up view here at the Sanford Dam. You can see what they're working on right now. All this water from downriver, down the Tittabawassee River, came up last night. So a lot of this flowed over top of the sill. You can actually see a lot of that water in here right now. So they moved all the equipment that used to be down in there out last night so that that didn't get flooded. Also, you may have noticed the vacuum truck here. They went ahead and power washed and vacuumed out all the silt, all the muck that used to be underneath those spillways. So now that's all nice and cleaned up. Also, since last time I was here, you can see the Tainter gates have been removed. Wenches are removed from up top as well. And the substation is over there. So not much else going on here. Be able to see a little bit more of this from the photos that were provided to me. Be able to take a closer look inside of these spillways. Maybe a closer look at the pass-through. And it's more of the work that has happened here when they went ahead, had to open these spillways with the breaker, cut off the rebar, and now we're at that point. Live camera is right up there on the top of the powerhouse, so it's got a great view of all the work that's been going on here, so make sure you're tuning into that and checking out these views. Next time I'm out here, hopefully there won't be any more water in here any longer. We'll be able to get a closer look down in there underneath the spillways. Great look at the earthen embankment. Not much else has changed with that as well. Here's a couple of those photos and I'll try to describe what's happening here. This one we can see the breaker going ahead, breaking away the concrete above that pass-through spillway. Looks like they broke away a little bit more, but we can see the rebar inside of there. Here we can see a lot of that concrete removed again and that rebar sticking out. You can see the line where they drew it across, made sure everything was level when they were breaking that with the breaker. Again, looks like there's a little bit of snow coming down in this picture, and then they went ahead and removed the concrete that they removed with the breaker with the excavator. Again, can kind of see inside of the spillways all that silt that is underneath there. And then in this picture again, more concrete removal with the excavator. We can see the mini excavator that's down there behind the sill. This they were going ahead and drilling some weep holes, so up close shot of that underneath the spillways, and then a little bit further shot back out of the spillways. And in this next photo we can see that they were going ahead and power washing the interior of the spillways. Again, a lot of silt down there on the bottom, and then they sucked this up with the vacuum truck. So silt is removed now. You can see the bottom of the spillways starting to look pretty clean. And again, another shot looking at the bottom of the concrete that is underneath those spillways. Again, vacuum truck here with that hose. They're trying to shove all that silt to that hose so that it gets sucked out. And again, power washing the inside of the spillways. We can see the openings in the concrete where the catwalks used to span through underneath these hollow spillways. And the finished product, so all the silt removed from underneath the spillways. Now I'm going to jump back into some of this drone video. Again, really low with the drone, probably only about 30 feet in altitude. We're going to come around here to the north side of the temporary bridge. I do want to mention that I will be sharing the video from the live camera of them lowering the spillways as well as flying out and removing the spillways from on top of Sanford Dam a little bit later on in this video as well. Probably provide a little bit of voiceover describing what was happening there, but it will be a nice quick little time lapse, so if you did miss this on the live camera, now is your chance to catch it. We're facing towards the south with the drone on the upriver portion of the temporary bridge. You can see the amount of water flowing underneath this and the riprap that they have on each side. You can see that it does kind of come at an angle to the right side of this bridge, and that's probably really where they were focused on adding some of that larger riprap there, because it would start to possibly undermine some of the approaches over there on that side versus over here on the left side. That water is actually kind of being funneled away from it, and this side's a little bit more protected. We'll go around and turn the drone around now. Pretty low with it again. We're probably about 2 to 3 feet above the water surface, and this is a great shot showing Sanford Falls. So all that water is coming over the top of that clay, a lot of it coming over on the left hand side. And this is right where the earthen embankment used to be. So that's actually what forms Sanford Falls here. Now we're facing to the north, so this would be the Sanford lake bed in the background where all those trees are growing currently. And then over here on the right hand side is where the Tittabawassee River comes in front of Sanford Dam. Tons of waterfowl out here again. You can see those 2 geese that just took off, and a lot more in the background that you'll see when we get a little bit closer. We'll see if anyone can ID them. So in the comments down below, let me know right now what you think these 4 birds are right here in the middle of the screen. go ahead, pause the video, and leave your comment down below. So these 4 right here are actually mergansers. They're not considered ducks or geese. And over here in the background, we do see a lot of geese there and a couple seagulls. So it seems like the seagulls have migrated back to the area with the warmer temperatures. And up here on the ice, looks like there's quite a few goose tracks where they've been walking around. Entering the screen over here on the right hand side now is Sanford Dam. So we can see a couple of those spillways and the powerhouse there in the background. You can tell where the water's moving a little more swiftly where the ice has not formed. So up here in front of the dam, looks like the water is actually a little bit more stagnant than where it goes over the falls because of that ice that is able to form. Here's the view from the top of the dam. Can't see too much difference from up here other than the crane over here going ahead, flying out that last little piece down there. No more gates down here. You see, this used to be where the Tainter gates were located, right here. And the winches that went ahead and lifted and lowered those Tainter gates used to be here as well. Here's a look up here to the north, Tittabawassee River and Sanford Lake bed out this direction as well. Mostly frozen up, but where it's moving swiftly, it's still opened up a little bit. This is a quick time lapse showing the process of lowering the Tainter gates. Looks like they hooked the crane onto the existing chain and then cut the winch free. After the winch is free, they can go ahead and lower the Tainter gate down the rest of the way. Then they got on there with a sawzall. They cut off the rubber piece that seals the Tainter gate to the actual spillway itself so it doesn't leak around there. They do this on each of the sides. And it seems like this is a pretty quick process. It's definitely quicker than them going ahead and flying the gates out. Like I said, that will be in a future video that I filmed the time lapse of that. After those rubber pieces are removed, then they can go ahead, lower the gate down the rest of the way, drop the ladder down and unhook the crane from it, and the gate's in its lowered position. This is a quick time lapse showing how the gate removal and lift actually went. Again, there will be some raw video at the end of this video if you want to stay tuned to the very end to watch the entire process. But they already went ahead and cut off the 3 braces, the 2 on the nearest side and the 1 right below where they're currently cutting. So you might be able to see that gate starting to fall down a little bit more, and you'll be able to tell right when they get cut through it. You'll see that gate drop down in a couple seconds now. So it's happening right about now. So now that gate is free. It's being held up by the crane, and now they're going to go ahead and move the boom out of the way, and then that 150-ton crane can go ahead and lift it out of there, fly it out of that location. It looks like this was on spillway number 3, I believe. Looks like there's 3 other spillways on the other side of this. Again, mini excavator down there behind the sill. That was interesting to see that as well. That'll be coming in an upcoming video of watching this crane fly out the mini excavator from behind the sill. Now jumping back to the drone video, this is at an altitude of 400 feet. So this is the legal height limit that I'm able to fly to with the drone. We'll come up here to the west side of the dam though. The drone is facing towards the south right now. And again, Saginaw Road is in the background back there that crosses over the top of the Tittabawassee River. Might be able to make out a few portions of the village in the background as well. Probably about 200 feet in altitude now with the drone, and I'm dropping pretty fast, and we're in a circle right around behind the backside of the dam where they have this access road constructed. Again, can see the spillways, how these have been opened up from the backside with the breaker so that they're able to pour the new concrete weir spillways on the interior of these. And I'm going to just say it because I know someone will ask, they always do on every video, is will these lakes be refilled again? So will the dam be rebuilt? And so far the answer is yes. That's where everything is leading to right now. They will be going ahead pouring the new weir spillways inside of these existing spillways and then removing the top cap of these with the breaker and redirecting the water flow back over the top of Sanford Dam. That will help immensely with erosion that is happening through Sanford Falls right now. That will complete the interim stabilization measures that they're currently working on. Then in the coming years, they will start the construction phase. So that will be, again, pouring the spillways at a little bit higher height, adding the new crest gates to the top of these spillways, and then they can go ahead, close the gates, and allow Sanford Dam to refill. Also part of interim stabilization will be filling in the breach area where the water is currently flowing through underneath the temporary bridge, and that's how that water will be redirected over the top of Sanford Dam. So hopefully that answered a couple of people's questions as to the progress and what's going to be happening in the next couple years and why water would be redirected over the top of the dam before the construction was even complete. So I flew over here behind the powerhouse, just kind of checking out the front side of that real quick, and now we're checking out the front side of the spillways. Lots of icebergs sitting here in front of the access road. You can see quite a few geese out here in this open water because most of it is frozen, so any little bit of open water that they're able to get to, that's where they're staying. And another view right down here. This is where that work's happening underneath these spillways right now. Well, not right now because of all that water that is underneath these, but will soon be happening. They're going to be pouring the new concrete weir spillways inside of these. The new eye wall will be going right here as well through the earthen embankment and connecting the other one. Then they will be filling in the breach area right where the Tittabawassee River is flowing through right now. And then that water will be redirected over the top of the Sanford Dam. So like I said, not much work going on the earthen embankment right now where I'm standing. A lot of that dirt that used to be out here, that sand where the emergency spillways used to be located, has been removed and brought back over here to fill in a little bit more of that earthen embankment. Again, all those emergency spillways have been removed probably for about over a month now. And yeah, the main goal right now is to get work done here on the dam. Once that work is done, then that water can be redirected, the breach area filled in, and the eye wall installed here. Then that will be the end of the interim repairs. And then in the next couple years, they can go ahead, refill in the earthen embankment up to its rough final grade. And then the crest gates can be installed back on Sanford Dam above the new spillways. And then Sanford Lake will be allowed to refill once again. Here's the last little bit of drone video I filmed here at about 200 feet in altitude facing to the north. I'm going to fly up here and give you guys a close look at the lake bed. There's always a ton of people interested in the vegetation that is growing on the lake bed. Looks like there's a little bit of a creek or water running through the center of it as well right now. Still a ton of trees laying out here. I think most of the debris has been picked up. There was a couple volunteer projects last year that people went across the lake bed and picked up any of the trash and debris that they could. And now we can just see a lot of the twigs sticking up. So a lot of these twigs are cottonwood and willow trees. It looks like there's a couple weeds still standing as well, and some tree stumps. So the tree stumps do have to stay on the lake bed and in the lake bed. Those cannot be removed. They're going to provide fish habitat when this lake is refilled. The stumps, however, can be topped down to the root balls. So people can go ahead if they have some tall tree stumps. Some of these are 20, 30 feet tall and did provide quite a hazard for boaters in the area. So those can go ahead and be cut off before the lakes are refilled. Just no removing of the actual root systems in the lake bed. Flying over here to the Sanford Lake Park. This used to be the boat launch right here in the bottom right corner. You can see the concrete leading down into the lake bed. And this is also another staging area that's up at a little bit higher altitude elevation up here. It looks like they have the 2 off-road dump trucks staged there, a loader and another semi-truck. Some rollaway dumpsters. The old Sanford Lake Park dock is over here on the right-hand side. So that used to be a dock that was right along the boat launch. And there is a ton of rebar also staged up here. So this is most likely for when they go ahead and do re-pour the Weir Spillway. You may have noticed there was also some riprap behind the drone right now, so I didn't point that out, but you probably noticed that when I was flying up a little bit earlier. I'm not going to do an update on the whole village of Sanford. That will be coming probably on the next video when it's a little bit warmer, but we're right here. You can see the Marathon Ellis Party Store back there in the background, and I did want to show off the brand new Huntington Bank that is now open. So Three Rivers Corporation did a great job constructing this, and it really does look really nice. So if you're in the area and you're looking for a banker, make sure you check out Huntington Bank here. And we have 3 Diamonds Bridal back here, that little pink shop. And then over this way, of course, the Dollar General that every small town has to have, Jack's Hometown Pizza, and the post office. I know there's been a lot of people that have been confusing Jack's Hometown Pizza, which is open, and who I did an interview with right after the dams failed, with the pizza place that is located up here in the village of Sanford, a little bit closer to downtown area. So that pizza place is not open, but Jack's Hometown Pizza is, and they really have some really great pizzas. So if you're in the area, make sure you're stopping by, checking them out, and supporting the local businesses. Wrapping up the video shortly here, I'm gonna fly over the Sanford Park. So this is the park that's in front of the dam towards the south of the dam. This used to be a ton of baseball fields in this area, and can't even really make out where the turf used to be and where the diamonds used to be. Playground's over here on the left-hand side though. And there's been a couple of people that have been driving down here to get access to the front side of the dam. Tittabawassee River is over there on the right-hand side, and then that is the Saginaw Road Bridge that goes over the top of the Tittabawassee River, and the other bridge is the rail trail. So that's a really long bike and walking trail that spans for quite a few miles. It definitely goes from here all the way to Midland, which is over here in the background. That would be towards the west. Nice shot looking down Sanford Village. Looks like there's quite a bit of traffic this day and quite a bit of snow on the ground that we no longer have. Come some Canadian geese flying right over right now. They just took off from the other side of Sanford Falls over there. As always, I'm going to be including the engineering diagrams and details at the end of this video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. As always, make sure you go down below, hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and leave any questions and comments you have down below as well. And until the next one, I'll see you then.
Last, we don't have pictures on Sanford, but if you can imagine, we're doing the same thing. It took us an extra 3 months, given some of this floodplain issues we're going to talk about, to get it permitted. So we're a little bit behind schedule, but we feel like this will be done by the end of summer. It's essentially the same model. We're going to remove the spillways, get a position for the new spill gates, and run an embankment on the west side of the dam to basically bring the water back in if it's needed to work through. We've had 2 kind of questions. If you're in Secord and Sanford, or Secord and Smallwood, you're asking, why isn't there being work on my dam? And the answer is, we've already done the stabilization, and there is work being done. It's primarily engineering work. In these dams, we've been doing the engineering and working on the stabilization of these, as you can see, much bigger projects. And we needed to get the spillway capacity set on the upper 2 dams before we could work on Edenville and Sanford. So we did the 30% engineering, but now we're staffing up engineering for those projects as well.
What this project really is if you combine what we're doing on the Tittabawassee side with the breach channel with what we're doing on the Tobacco Spillway, it's kind of that merger of this project. So starting on the left side of this page, or right looking downstream, we do need to close off the existing breach channel and push flow back through the primary spillway. So what we're planning to do at the spillway structure itself is we are going to remove the upper portions of the barrel arch, which is the upstream portion of the spillway, and the downstream rollway. And we're going to be putting in a new mass concrete weir across all 6 spillway bays. So we'll be taking the gates out, lowering the sill elevation or the invert elevation to regulate or restore kind of the current base level elevation in Sanford Lake, and push that water through the former spillway footprint. And then while we're doing that, we are going to be having a very similar design in terms of the embankment. It's going to be that steel sheet pile along with the eye wall, which would be rock fill on both sides. In addition to that work, we have quite a bit of cleanup that has to be performed. The breach demolished the auxiliary spillway that was in place, moved around a lot of material that was the former embankments, and just a lot of debris that needs to be cleaned up and removed off site. In addition to that work, we are going to restore some of the erosion on the shoreline immediately downstream of the spillway, and then also be removing some of the sediment that is accumulated immediately downstream of the dam. So we are in the permit and design process with this. We're working with Eagle right now to get a permit to get our contractor on site to start doing this site cleanup before they start working on the spillway. So we're hopeful that we'll be out there here this fall, and that work would go through early spring of next year.
Yeah, one of the challenges, I think it's complicated too in terms of the construction to get access to these dams. So yeah, as we see this, so there's actually, I think you can see it in the drawing, but I think it's covered by the label. To be able to get across and access this, we're putting a temporary bridge in. And so that requires a fair amount of, just to do the construction across it. So that's been kind of tying us up a little bit to get all that done. And so it's not that we don't want to start. It's like we got to get all this thing done and done safely and working through that. But we're pretty close now, and would expect to start hopefully in the next several weeks and get this moving as well. And then we have the wrong slide next is what we're going to condition. So I think we put Ron, I think we have another, that says Sanford restoration, but as we looked at it, I think it's the Edenville restoration. So we labeled the wrong one on it. So so you can look at it twice, but it looks the same. But we'll get it out on the website in the next day or so correctly. Sanford, I think the difference is on the timeline in Sanford, it has the same kind of structure, but it does the construction cycle is smaller. And so we think we can get that done 1 year earlier and to work on. So I don't want to go through that because as we looked at it, all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, we got this one labeled wrong. So we'll get that cleaned up a little bit. Apologize for that. So let's move forward on that. We'll get the right one on there to work through. The one though, so that's kind of where we are. Like I said, we'll get those out there. We'll start to measure the aspects of it to work through, and how fast we go on this restoration again is a big function of how we look at the financing. The finance isn't going to bring the construction timelines much earlier, but it certainly de-risks the projects, makes it more affordable, and simplifies what we're doing. But I wouldn't say just takes less complexity out of it. Still remains a complex project.
Thanks for watching, and make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Also, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next videos I will be posting, and leave your questions, comments, and suggestions below. As always, I just want to give a massive thanks to the people who support me on Patreon. Never underestimate the value of your contribution to keeping this channel going. Thank you.